views and opinions expressed on Xplorers Secrets of the Truth or that of their guests or contributors are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. All information on Xplorers Secrets of the Truth is provided in good faith. However, we make no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of any information on this talk show or website.
From monsters and ghosts to otherworldly beings, join the Explorers as they venture into the darkest realms, seeking the truth to what goes bump in the night.
Welcome back to Explorers Dead Air, the podcast where legends are more than whispers, and sometimes the truth is even stranger than fiction.
Or at least as weird as a guy in a shiny suit smiling at you on the side of a dark West Virginia road.
Yeah, well, I am Chad.
And I'm Les, and tonight we're talking about one of the strangest encounters on record. It's got UFOs, telepathy, intergalactic diplomacy, and a guy named Indrid Cold. But first, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube, live every other Tuesday, and we do a pre-recorded show, which is this one we are doing right now. We try and get that out every other Saturday, but it's not going to hit this Saturday. It's probably going to hit Sunday. So while you're visiting us on Facebook, give us a follow, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can find us at our website at Explorers Group. We're on X or Twitter at Explorers Group as well, and we are on all the major podcast providers. And while you're there listening to us on whichever one you choose, give us a 5-star review. That's all we ask. There, I stumbled through that one.
Good one. That's right. We're diving into the case of Woodrow Derenberger, a sewing machine salesman from West Virginia, whose life took a sharp left turn in November of 1966.
So here's the setup. It's November 2nd, 1966. Woodrow's driving home in Mineral Wells, West Virginia. This is after a sales trip. It's about 7:30 p.m., dark, rainy, typical Appalachian backroad kind of night.
And that's when it happens. A strange vehicle, he described it like a kerosene lamp turned sideways, zoomed past him on Route 77, then blocked the road in front of him.
I mean, already that's a bad sign. I mean, you never want your commute interrupted by flying lamps.
Definitely not. Then out steps a man. He's tall, thin, black hair slicked back, wearing a kind of outdated business suit.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the kicker. The guy's lips never move.
Ooh. Well, I'm assuming that's because he's communicating telepathically.
Exactly. He tells Woodrow, "Don't be afraid. I come in peace."
Cue the Twilight Zone music.
He introduces himself as, I'm going to do it, Indrid Cold.
All right.
And there's the chill. And he says he's a searcher, someone who studies other worlds. His ship, he says, is from Lanulos, a planet in the, what did we decide it was? The Ganymede galaxy?
All right. Okay. Well, hold up. All right. Ganymede's not a galaxy. It's a moon of Jupiter. So already the astronomy's kind of a little off.
True. But Derenberger stuck to his story. He said Indrid asked him questions about human life, what people did for fun, what kind of food we ate. The conversation lasted several minutes, and then Cold calmly got back in his ship and flew away.
So what does Derenberger do? Does he go straight to the police, the media? The next day, he's on the TV being interviewed about the whole thing. I think that's how it happened, right?
Um, he wasn't some like recluse living in a cabin.
Mm-hmm.
He was a working guy known in his community, and he looked generally shaken in his TV interviews.
Okay, but the public, though, I'm assuming they weren't exactly supportive.
No, they weren't. Of course, he got mocked. He actually lost clients,
Mm.
and his family faced harassment. But he never backs down from this story.
That's interesting. But well, here's where it gets a little wild. According to Derenberger, that wasn't the last that he actually saw of Indrid Cold.
Nope. He claimed repeated visits and said Indrid even took him aboard his spacecraft and flew him to Lanulos.
Wow, that would be amazing. Now, Lanulos, correct me if I'm wrong, Lanulos is where people walk around naked, live in peace, and don't even have a word for war. So, I mean, that sounds like either paradise or a really bad sci-fi novel.
Maybe both.
True.
But in 1971, Derenberger published a book all about it, Visitors from Lanulos.
Now, again, here's where the weird synchronicity. Derenberger's encounter happened just days before, all right, the first Mothman sightings in nearby Point Pleasant.
Yeah, and if you go deeper into the lore, Indrid Cold becomes the shadowy reoccurring character.
Mm-hmm.
Some say he's connected to the Men in Black or that he is one of them.
All right, well, he shows up in other stories too. Always calm, always smiling, and always with that same strange vibe, like he just doesn't quite belong.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget, though, Point Pleasant wasn't just the Mothman. That area in the late 60s was a hotbed for weirdness.
Okay.
Strange lights, the Men in Black, bizarre phone calls, UFO sightings. It was like something was breaking through in that area.
Well, I mean, Jesus, with that write-up, it certainly was. Well, wasn't the Flatwoods Monster was West Virginia, wasn't it?
Yeah, Flatwoods. Yeah. I mean, if you go back and look at like that, the whole Point Pleasant area, and when I say like the Point Pleasant area, it's a big expanse. It's not just like the town of Point Pleasant or across the bridge in Ohio. We're talking like that whole like river valley. You're talking, there was poltergeist activity reported. I mean, John Keel, and the reason John Keel even got involved in like the Mothman stuff was he was going to investigate a story of a cat that was growing a wing out of its back.
I never heard about that one.
Yeah, that's the reason he was in the area. And it turned out to be some kind of growth on the cat. It wasn't a wing.
Oh, God.
It was just some kind of growth. But while he's there is when the whole Mothman story starts to come out. But if you go in and look at his stuff, there was a family that was affected by poltergeist. There was these bizarre phone calls people were getting. There were sightings of the strange lights, you know, on the river, in the river, and above the river. Plus, there were several dozen UFO calls, sightings in that time frame.
See, it's interesting with the lights in and above and around the water, because wasn't that Tic Tac video, like, didn't that thing supposedly, they were like, oh, it's going in the water, it's going in the water. And I mean, there's a lot of reports on the coast of California where there's supposedly UFOs that, you know, are submersibles.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if you go to like Pittsburgh, they've had reports of in the Three Rivers area objects glowing underwater, moving at high rates of speed, and stuff like that. But yeah, this whole area is kind of in this time frame, just one report after another of strange occurrences.
Interesting.
And I mean, it's goes from like the start isn't even the Mothman, it is UFOs being sighted. It's the bizarre lights and interactions with ghosts and poltergeist like entities, and also Woody Derenberger, his encounters. And
it would be interesting. I wonder, would the poltergeist activity not really be paranormal, but a reaction to or a cause from extraterrestrial activity, like with heightened energy or like maybe heightened magnetic field, and it would cause certain metals or whatever to move or whatever. People are, oh, the house is haunted, there's a poltergeist, things are flying around. But maybe it's just an energy field that was formed by these crafts that were being seen, or lights, quote unquote, around the waterways. You know what I mean? I mean, just a thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, actually, the one story that always jumps out that happens, I believe it starts slightly before the whole Mothman story.
Okay.
Is a family a little ways outside of Point Pleasant who have a teenage daughter who basically starts having these like what they think are nightmares, and eventually things start happening around the house that basically get attributed to a poltergeist. But one of the stories from her side of it was she wakes up in the middle of the night and sees a man smiling at her.
Oh, now I'm getting the chills.
With slick black hair, slicked back. Mouth never moves, but it's a grin. He just stands there and she screams, and when she screams, he disappears.
Oh, dude, now I literally have chills. Yeah. That is creepy.
Mm-hmm. So now we were talking about Woodrow Derenberger, right?
Yep.
So Woodrow Derenberger's daughter claims that basically she had 50 years of encounters.
50 years?
Yeah. Basically starting from her father's first encounter.
Now she wasn't with him, right? He was by himself.
He was by himself. I think she was like 4 years old at the time of his encounter, right? Well, she describes several encounters when she's a child. And one of them was her and her dad were out in the yard playing. And the way their yard was, it was a big, like, kind of open yard, fieldy type area. And they're like playing catch or something like that. And her dad's there and she's there and they're throwing back and forth. She throws the ball to her dad. She's looking at him. Throws the ball to him. There's nobody standing there with her dad. Her dad catches the ball. And when she sees it hit his glove, she looks next to him and there's 3 people standing.
Jeez.
Now, again, like I said, it's like a big open area where she would have, if you're looking ahead at somebody, you're focused on them, but you see her, within a couple feet of them, either side. She said the ball hit his glove, and all of a sudden, there was Indrid with 2 other people.
Ooh, that is creepy.
And basically, she said they stood there and her dad was like communicating with them, and they even talked to her a little bit.
Right.
But again, their mouths never move.
Oh, that is so weird.
And even Woodrow's wife at one point claims to have met Indrid.
I wonder what the fascination with the Derenbergers was. Like, I mean, the dude was just a salesman, right? Like he wasn't.
Yeah, nothing special.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
maybe that was the intriguing thing about him,
yeah. They
was
were just the average person.
average person, no, not some scientist or some doctor or some highly educated person, but
Yeah,
also maybe it was the fact that he was open to the communication.
yeah, yeah,
Like, you know, I'm sure he was afraid when it was happening, but like it didn't seem like he was terrified to the point of like trying to get away or anything like that. So maybe it was a connection of he's very receptive to our communication, and then maybe his daughter was also receptive to it.
yeah.
One of the stories I heard, and I cannot confirm or deny, was Woodrow and his wife were sitting on their porch at their house.
Hmm.
And this was a few years later in life. So they were a bit older now. I believe their daughter was maybe away at college or had moved out, and maybe it was married already at this point.
Hmm.
And they were sitting out watching a storm coming in on from a distance, and they were watching the lightning and all that. And they were just sitting there, it's like summertime. They were sitting out on the porch enjoying themselves. And the way they were sitting, there was a third chair. I guess maybe it was their daughter's chair at one point or something like that, like a rocking chair type chair out on the porch.
Hmm.
And the lightning cracks and it's real bright. And they're both sitting there. And when the light cracks, there's Indrid sitting with them. And basically, the way the story is always told is he basically says, "This is the last time I'm coming to see you guys."
Oh,
And like almost like like two friends parting.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's a solemn, like, hey, it's been really nice, and this will be the last time we see each other.
yeah.
Now, his daughter, on the other hand, basically says she had encounters with him from
For
the
50
time,
years.
from the time she was a child until she was well into her 50s and 60s, I guess, at that point. And basically, eventually she had that conversation too. Like, he was almost kind of like an uncle
Yeah,
in that sense to her. Like, she had been around him so much that like the fear of him being there or him just popping into existence just got to be like the normal thing for her.
hmm.
So she wasn't as terrified or scared. So, and again, that's why I think maybe the family had an openness to that form of communication from that area,
Yeah,
and therefore they were, they became almost friends with this entity.
hmm,
So, yeah, she actually wrote a book before she's actually passed away a few years ago. I think it was like 2023 she passed away.
hmm.
And her book was Beyond Lanulos, our 50 plus years with Indrid Gold. And there's the chill again.
Yeah, yeah. A cold chill, no pun intended.
Yeah.
So did I don't know if you know or not, but I wonder, did the daughter go to Lanulus too? Because they took the dad, right? According
Yeah,
to,
he claims that he went there.
yeah, to the nudist colony.
Yeah. Which, I mean, basically I think he just went to Florida.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
kind of sounds like Florida, certain areas of Florida in the 60s and 70s
Right.
to current day still have those type places. So,
Uh-huh.
the Golden Girls went to one.
That's right. That's right. So now I have not read the book. I definitely
Neither have
want to
I.
watch Visitors.
I've watched a little interview here and there. I've watched his interviews about the subject. John Keel being interviewed about it, and a brief interview of his daughter. I don't think she put herself out there as much.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what I'm wondering. Do the inhabitants of Lanulus are they humans? Like, are they human like? Because I mean, Indrid was like a person. He just didn't move his mouth when he spoke.
Mhm.
He spoke telepathically,
Yeah.
but he looked human,
Hmm.
off human, like odd human, but
Yeah.
still human. So I'm wondering, do the Lanulus inhabitants, are they human,
Well,
or in at least human in appearance?
that's one of those things. Like, you know, they always talk about like the Men in Black, and a lot of
Yeah,
times he gets put in that category because of the odd, um,
suit.
the odd suit and the lack of, like, they always say, like, when the Men in Black are seen, they always have like weird, like they almost don't know how to be human.
Yeah, like they always say there's something off about them.
Yeah, there's always some kind of weird quirk, or like they don't know how to sit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the people, have told stories that, like, oh yeah, these two got what we assumed were government agents came to the house, and we brought them in to tell them what we had witnessed, and like we were like, oh, have a seat, and they kind of just like looked at the couch and had to wait for the people to sit down to figure out like the mechanics of sitting down. So is it that they're, and the fact that like he pops into existence with the Derenberger family, like it's
Right,
not
right.
like, it's not like every time he was there they saw a spaceship land and all of a sudden he gets out and he's like, hey Woodrow, haven't seen
Yeah,
you in a
yeah.
little while, need to talk to you about a few things.
He just spontaneously appears.
Yeah, and it was the fact that, through the daughter we hear stories of multiple, not, and she doesn't necessarily describe them as him in multiple forms, like they are
Different beings.
different, yeah, different but the same, like their mouths don't move and they all kind of have a grin and they all have similar appearance, like structurally.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, could they be, a humanistic alien life form? Are
Kind of like the
they,
Nordics.
yeah, are they something that appears human, or appears as whatever they're visiting? Because he says he's a searcher
Hmm.
and he's asking questions about like the human experience.
Yeah.
So are they some other form that can kind of become whatever they need to? If they went to a planet where the predominant species had 6 arms and 3 eyes, is that how they appear to those species? And then when they come here, they appear in a humanist form.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, it-
Remember the comedy movie Galaxy Quest with Tim
yes.
Allen?
Mhm.
Remember how they had that band and it would make them appear human, but
Yeah.
the ones was screwed up and it was like this weird tentacle thing,
Mhm.
kind of like that maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Like, I wasn't thinking Galaxy Quest, but I was that kind of mentality of like, if you're coming to Earth and you don't want to get, frighten the person that you're trying to communicate with, you would appear somewhat human to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, he, not necessarily him, but around the same time, there are several reports in other parts of the country of this man in a strange suit with a grin on his face and slick back hair.
Yeah.
There's that story in New Jersey, the two boys who like kind of get chased by one of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Now they never communicated with him, but could that also have been him?
Or one of them.
Yeah. I mean, there are quite a few, things that go on. And this is all just in that window, like 66, 65 through like 70, where this is happening in multiple places. It's also kind of the birth of the Men in Black, which are also kind of described along the similar lines, though they do kind of talk. But even people that have claimed to have conversations with them, it's almost like they're a recording.
Yeah.
Like they're just playing back statements.
Yeah. Very bizarre. We were born on the tail end of all that too, man. We were just a few years too late.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were both born in 79, so if you think about PA from 73 to like 76
Mm-hmm.
had the most UFO sightings in the country. Also, during that same window, had the most Bigfoot sightings in the country.
Right. Then we
So,
grew up throughout the 80s and stuff when we were little. That's when all of it was really starting to gain a lot of public attention. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's Bigfoot in particular, I would say, because I mean, you had Harry and the Hendersons and all those different movies and whatnot that came out. Like Boggy Creek was 70s, I would say, when that came out.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. But I don't know. Interesting. So what do you think? Was Derringer a hoaxer? Was he delusional? Or did he really meet something or someone?
Okay. So it is tough because
Mhm.
there's no physical evidence of all this, right?
Right.
But the story of the consistency of his story, right? And the
Mhm.
facts that he didn't profit from it.
True.
He actually lost a lot out of this thing, makes it a bit more compelling.
Yeah.
And at the very least, he believed what he experienced.
Right.
Now, if you take it from me
Mhm.
looking at this, I have for years had some strange connection
Right.
to Indrid Cold.
Right.
The fact that when I say his name, I legitimately get a response where I get goosebumps, my hair stands up. I don't know why.
Well, for as long as I've known you, and we've talked about Indrid Cold, you can't even say his name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised you've said it as many times as you have tonight. But you clearly are reacting.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with goosebumps from head to toe. My nipples are super hard.
Got class with these things.
Yeah. So and again, to like the whole Mothman thing is, the bridge collapsed on December 15th, 1967. My birthday's December 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Not 1967, of course, but
Just a couple of years later.
12 years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a weird, like, because of the Silver Bridge collapse on my birthday, 12 years before I'm born.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something that I connect with of, oh, well, it's the same anniversary date as my birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know why this person in particular I have this response to. Like I told you when you saw what the topic was, I kind of did this as some form of therapy. Like, it was just kind of one of those things, like, I enjoy the story.
Mm-hmm.
I do just have this physical response to the name and all that.
Yeah.
So
maybe you're a reincarnation of a bridge victim.
Could be.
And you just have that connection.
Well, we do have that past life regression session that we got to go do.
We have to. But we have to do it together because I want to make sure that you're watching me and not like I'm not left alone with some weirdo.
No, the person that does it, I've known almost my whole life.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought you were. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And So it's one of those things. Yeah, there's some connection to me to it. And
Yeah.
so, again, like I said, it's tough because there is no physical evidence. There's no picture of him. There's no, he wasn't writing postcards from Lanulos and having them delivered, with a postmark from Lanulos.
Uh-huh.
So it's hard to prove, but again, it goes back to there's a lot of crazy stuff happening
Yeah.
in this area at this time that is being reported not just by crazy, not to disparage anybody, but like not, and of course we grew up in Appalachia, so not some crazy drunk in a mountain.
Yeah.
Not some moonshiner who had a little too much of his own brew and started seeing things.
Yeah.
We're talking from, Linda Scarberry,
Mhm.
who's just a normal woman with her husband and two, a girlfriend and her husband out driving around at night.
They're the ones that had the Mothman attack their car, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the first Mothman stories. But like the Mothman was seen by the two grave diggers a town or so away. People, police officers, newspaper reporters, they're all seeing things. They're all experiencing things. These are, again, normal people. They're not, none of them have a history that was ever produced of like mental illness or alcohol problems or drug problems or any kind of psychoses. So they're experiencing something, and it becomes this phenomenon that ends basically, or not that it necessarily really ends, but the end of the whole first saga of this ends with the Silver Bridge collapse.
Yeah, right.
Because if you remember when we interviewed Jeff Walmsley, who runs the Mothman Museum, people are still seeing the Mothman.
Yeah.
In modern day.
Yeah.
People are still seeing strange lights and
not to mention in different states. The Mothman, like the Chicago, I think, had sites.
Chicago had, at one point we were tracking them, it was like 30 some sightings, and these were again people who are what you would consider relatively trained observers,
right?
The military and like different National Guard units were seeing things also. Like people involved in the military were seeing things, so there was something going on.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to what's a UFO.
Yeah.
If you don't know what an airplane is and you look up and see an airplane, it's a unidentified flying object.
Yep.
The person next to you is like, no, dude, that's an airplane. And you go, no, that's a UFO because I can identify it.
Right.
Once you're educated on what airplanes are and stuff like that, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that wasn't a UFO. It was an airplane. But these people, they were seeing something. They were experiencing tons of different phenomena, all culminating within, a 16, 18-month window.
Right.
So my personal belief is he believed what he experienced was real.
Yeah.
His daughter then goes on to have experiences. People in Point Pleasant and the surrounding communities are having these interactions with men in black, allegedly.
Yeah.
Which again, kind of, he gets thrown in as one of the first ones. So I kind of buy it because, like I said, I've had this weird connection to it for years that my family's not from West Virginia. I don't know of anybody in my family that's ever lived in West Virginia, but I've always had a connection to it.
Right.
The first time I ever heard about the Mothman was on Coast to Coast AM. I was working a security detail for a nursing home that was about to go on strike. I was out in the patrol vehicle. The radio, I'm sitting in a parking lot. The radio has been perfect the entire evening. They start talking about the Mothman, and the radio gets staticky and distorted. And then within a couple minutes, it's back to normal.
Weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always just had this weird connection to it. So I do believe something.
Look at our show, though. How many times did we start talking about a certain topic and then all of a sudden our signal will crap out?
Yeah.
And then we get done talking or covering that topic, whatever it was at the time. Then all of a sudden, signal's fine.
Mm-hmm. Or like, what was it? An episode ago, we were recording and there's some weird distortion that comes through.
It was the episode 3 of Dead Air with the Smurl family.
Yeah. And
I was talking about the actors from the Conjuring movies, and I mentioned the woman's name, and there was that weird, I don't know, some sort of a distortion. It sounded like there was something kind of whispering. I don't know. You guys will have to go back and listen to it and tell us what you think it is, but there was an odd distortion. I think it was about 5 minutes and 42 seconds in, somewhere around there. I think I had it written down.
I marked a comment on the Facebook page with the show. And so, yeah, there's all these weird little things that happen, especially there. So he believed what he experienced was real.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes belief is enough to create its own kind of, reality. Whether it's a real alien, a psychological event, or I don't know, something else entirely. His story stuck.
Mm-hmm. And, Indrid Cold, whether he's a myth, a metaphor, or something else, he's become a fixture in the American paranormal lore.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, to wrap things up, next time you're driving on a dark highway at night and a shiny man in a suit blocks your lane with a flying lamp,
just smile back and maybe ask him how things are going on Lanulos.
That's right. So thanks for joining us on Xplorers Dead Air. If you like tonight's tale, don't forget to rate and review, like and subscribe, follow on Facebook, all that fun stuff. And if Indrid Cold is listening,
I hope he's not. I mean, we come in peace.
There you go. There you go.
So stay curious, stay weird, and stay safe out there.
That's right. All right, buddy. Good show. Good night, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Yep. Good night, everyone.
Good night.